your screen or just part of your screen?
The full screen.
Oh, great.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, my name's Louise Weir, and I'm the course leader for illustration here at Middlesex. What we do at Middlesex is pretty special. We've got a great history. We're very well respected, and people come to Middlesex to do something, to find out what they do well and make the best of what they do. So we nurture what you are. We don't kind of dictate a course style. So I'll just go to the next slide. Okay, so what is illustration at Middlesex? We're an independent studio-based program. It's for those people who are looking specifically for illustration as a profession, but that doesn't mean you can't diversify and go on different creative routes. The course provides an exciting and innovative approach to exploring the development of your personal language. That's really, really important. You won't come here and we won't like treat you all like a sausage factory. You kind of develop what's good about yourself and we find out your special qualities. So the program gives students the opportunity to develop their learning in collaboration with fellow students and staff and to graduate feeling confident in their chosen career. So in a typical week in the studio, you'll meet me. We'll have tutorials. Sorry, you might go and do some skills workshops in the print room or in life drawing. And then you'll also be with your peers, your fellow students. And that's really, really important because you learn as much from them as you do from me quite a lot of the time. Okay, so why choose illustration? So the Grove is an amazing, amazing campus. It's got the best facilities. So we've got a video on YouTube at the moment where you can see going around the print room, the life drawing studio, and our studio is really beautiful. It's on the third floor. It's got amazing views. It's got natural light, and you will have your own space. During your time on the course, we'll talk about traditional and digital illustration techniques. So by traditional, I mean something that is from your hand. So that's either drawing or painting or printmaking. Digital is like on a tablet or done, with like moving image or something like that. So industry connections offer opportunities for live projects and publishing your work. So our graduates, I can talk about some of our graduate successes later, but we've had some industry live briefs this semester, which have been very, very successful and a part of our show, which I can talk about later. Yeah, so I teach life drawing to the second year. I've got lots of experience there. We think drawing is really, really important at Middlesex. It's kind of the core of what we do. That means that you don't need to be stressed about it, though. You can do work that isn't drawing based, but we like people to kind of observe life, and looking and seeing is an important part of drawing, not always what ends up on the page. So just the actual act of drawing is really, really important. And we get lots of illustrators in, people who are kind of top of their game and who are doing well in the industry, and we get them in and you can talk to them. Also design studios, filmmakers. We're not narrow in our perception of what illustration can be. If you want to do something, and you're like, oh, I want to take my work and I want to kind of put it onto buildings, or I want to do it projections or things like that, we'll talk about how you can do that, and I'll talk to colleagues and make that possible. Career paths. I mean, these are just a few of them, really. I mean, editorial illustrator, children's book illustrator, advertising artist, animation designer. A lot of our students also go into animation houses. They work as concept artists or working on environments. Some people go into teaching. Some people go on to MAs. One of our students has just gone on to the MA at Cambridge, which is one of the best MAs currently available. We have people that go into you know, being a full-time artist and exhibiting or curatorship. I mean, it's a really good degree because it's about thinking, not just making. So that kind of gives you a whole load of other opportunities to go into different careers. So whilst you're on the course, we look at the industry and you know how illustration is happening at the moment, and we continually update our briefs so that they're industry relevant and that they reflect what's going on in the marketplace. So the curriculum covers all aspects of illustration, such as editorial illustration, book design, children's book and narrative illustration, reportage. When I say reportage, I mean drawing from life, graphic novels, advertising, animation, and app and web illustration. So we also cover packaging, bookbinding, life and location drawing, ceramics and small metals, laser cut and printing, photography, and repro graphics. So it's a kind of dynamic, lively and energetic course. And while you're here, you will really kind of your work will go through the roof. It will really, really improve. So we have an excellent record of success in a number of internationally recognised awards, such as the D&AD Awards, Observer Graphic Short Story Prize, the Folio Book Illustration Award, and World Illustration Award. So this year, one of our students, Lottie Sue, she's got representation from an agent, ILO agency. She's been shortlisted in the Penguin Cover Award. She's been longlisted, which could go to shortlist and a prize in the Association of Illustrators World Award. She's also won first prize in the Phoenix Comic competition, and a whole list of other things that I can share with you at the end. It's a really, really long list. We've got 4 years of 100% NSS results, and we're 5th in London for overall student positivity. I think that might have gone up this year. That's from 2023, but I think it's gone up this year. Here's some of our alumni who all very different ways of working and all very successful in their own right. This list showcases our diverse type of student. We have, I mean, Alex was a mature student. Shazleen, she's, you know, she's doing really, really well with her work as well. So it's amazing, amazing work. So all of our staff are practicing illustrators and designers with extensive experience in their specialist fields. We have strong links with the illustration industry and have visits from publishers, illustration agents and practicing illustrators, as well as professional studios and galleries. And our students have a studio space assigned to them all for 3 years, and we have excellent staff student ratio. So even though I am course leader, I am quite manic, and I carry on with my own work, even though it's a lot to do in the week. And at the moment I'm working on a project for the London Early Years Foundation, and I'm kind of going to conferences and doing live drawing with that, and I've brought one of my students from the 3rd year into that project. And I've done that in the past as well. So whatever projects I'm working on, I bring the students into those as well, because I consider it really important that they see me working, they see what I'm doing, and I can invite them to join in that. Here's the module structure of BA illustration. So year 1, this is so it's ILN for year 1, sorry, not DES 1001. So ILN 1004, ILN 1005, ILN 1006, and ILN 1007, and they're all 30 credit modules. For year 2, it's ILN 2101. It's a bit boring, I know, the numbers, but they all are 30 credits, and you need to kind of pass those to go through to the next year. So where are we? So in the first year can, I know, feel a little bit kind of yeah, a big thing. It's a big thing coming into the first year. It's a big decision to decide this, and out of all the courses in the world, decide to come and study at Middlesex. And because you've made that choice and because you've put your faith in us, we're going to do whatever it takes to make you feel comfortable and to look after you. So when you first get here, it's really kind of settling in, getting used to the halls or wherever you're living, getting used to working your way around campus, and also being in London. London's a big city, so I make sure that everyone's okay, and that you get to know your fellow students. And then after that, we can get down to the important business of making images and learning all these new skills. So in the first year, we're introduced to all aspects of illustration, editorial, narrative, reportage, graphic novels, self authorship, animation and book design. And we have workshops every week in life drawing, printmaking, animation, and later in the term 3D laser cutting. Thinking about your work and being able to articulate your thoughts is also really important. So we have contextual studies classes, and we have talk about social, political, and ethical issues concerning creatives today. I don't want you to worry about that. A lot of students worry about writing and whether they're going to be able to do that properly. Luke, who will teach you writing, he gives you a really kind of slow and easy introduction into kind of articulating your thoughts and writing. By the third year, it'll be second nature. So it's a very slow and measured and considered program there to help you. Here's some of the first year work. This is screen printing. I'll just blow that up on my screen a little bit. So this was done by Amy Mill, who's currently going into the third year. This was about the Brixton riots, which happened here in like the 90s, and she kind of brought that together with music by The Clash. So really exciting and vibrant work. And she found that the best process to show what she wanted to say was using screen printing, and all these textures in here. Some of these are monoprinting, some of these are rubbings, really lively and kind of vibrant work. This is by David Kunak. This was a series of, a triptych about myths of water myths, and he did these really beautiful etchings. They're aquatints. That's something that you'll learn how to do while you're here. So different layers of printing with different plates. Quite a beautiful, beautiful process. This was a mobile. We do this in the first year as well, where we draw something in response to an Aesop's fable. I'm not sure whether or fairy tale. And then we go on and kind of cut round that on the laser cutter and hang it up in the space. This was by Jessica. Jessica's a really fantastic student, great sense of humour. So if you've got something like a natural sense of humour or like a poetic side to your character, we'll do our best to bring that out and showcase that in your work. This is a 3D piece that we do in the second half of the first year, and we make into a ceramic, and this is from a drawing trip. So first year over, and you've all done well, off you go into the second year. In the second year, we kind of look at your portfolio, think about how you can respond to the briefs that are set. The briefs are kind of changed quite regularly, but they're done to kind of expand and extend the skills that you have already. So we have the briefs are maybe a little bit deeper, a bit more exploratory, and they've got some of them have maybe got more unspecified outcomes. We encourage people to kind of keep trying things. We've got an amazing Rhizo machine, which is like screen printing and photocopying mixed together. I don't know. It's like it looks like a photocopier, but you run the colors through it. I'll show you some later. It's the most amazing thing. And students attend life drawing and contextual studies classes. And also we've got a new module, which is very much about reflecting on your life drawing with your writing, thinking about subjects such as gender, identity, what it is to be human, and we'll have quite a few visits around London as well that impact on that module. So have I gone? Where am I? Oh, sorry, I've gone a bit too far there. Okay, so this is some work from the second year. This is Fran. He's one of our graduating students now. He really got into wood engraving in the second year and has gone on to do some phenomenal work. So this is the first time he tried wood engraving, and now it's just gone like exponential with that. This is Lottie's work, and her work has gone from strength to strength, and she's like winning awards and getting agents and all sorts now. So in the third year, we'll have more individual tutorials. So we really kind of hone in on what your work is and how it can be expanded and can go to the most exciting destinations. We'll think about the direction you want to take for your final year. You don't have to stick to that, but we think about how you want to kind of navigate that year. And all the projects are new for the third year at the moment. They've all been changed. We've got some competitions, industry projects. We've got some, the first project is all about London, finding out all about the kind of myths, history of London. And then we go out and draw in London, bring that back into the studio. It's really exciting project. And yeah, so it's all really, well, if you see the current show, you'll see how it's really kind of stepping up. And this is the Riso printing that I mentioned earlier. So I'm not sure, I can't enlarge this on the screen, but maybe you can. But if you can see this like really exciting quality that it brings to the work, putting lots of different colors and mixing them, and the way that it mixes is really kind of sometimes a little bit unpredictable, and that's what brings the beauty of this process. We've got a rich history at Middlesex of graphic novels. We've got a lot of people who have won prizes in that particular medium and genre. And that's something we really encourage. We get guest speakers from that kind of area. And yeah, it's somewhere where a lot of our students really flourish. Yeah, and a lot of students decide to do something that's more personal, excuse me, for their final major project. And this was Stephen Peralta, who lives just down the road from me in Walthamstow, and he did some really amazing big drawings all about his kind of journey and kind of mental health. That was just kind of coming out of the back of COVID, luckily, when we don't have to think about that anymore. Okay, oops, sorry. I'm just trying to get rid of this on my screen. Some things have just popped up. Yeah, so this is a more commercial piece. This was all about, clothing, a bit of editorial. And is that the end? I think that might be the end of my... Yeah, I don't think I've got another slide there. Oh, yeah, maybe a few more. Sorry, a glitch on my computer. Yeah, another editorial piece. We encourage people to do moving image, because that's a really big part of the industry now, in terms of, how illustration is used editorially and in infographics and also advertising. So we encourage people to learn those basic skills of animating in Photoshop and also After Effects. Here's another one. We do stop motion animation. That's where you kind of move things around under the camera, and then once you've finished taking all those photographs, you link it together in After Effects. And this is our studio, our lovely, lovely studio. And this is where you'll have your own space. So that is something that you don't typically get in British art colleges. Normally there's a lot of hot desking going on, but we really encourage people to make their desk their own. And also you build those really good relationships with your neighbours. So this year, for instance, Fran was working on a really beautiful animation with his wood engravings. Anna, who sat next to him, saw that and decided to do a animation for her final major project that was really successful. So that crossover is really, really important. And that's me. You can contact me on my email, or you can follow us at MDX Illustration. And if you have a look at that now, you can see our most recent post showing our degree show, which has got the tiger on the front. So please do visit, and please do follow us, and we can keep in touch. Thank you very much. So any questions, please do ask me about that. This is the first time I've shared on here, so I'm not sure how to stop sharing. Can you just stop sharing for me? Would that be possible?
Let me check, no problem. Let me check. Okay. I think I have just stopped, right?
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, great. So thank you so much, Louise. So yes, before we start the webinar, actually I have been collecting some questions from our audience already. So, and also from our other colleagues. And as you mentioned that there is some the industry connections for the illustration courses. So can you please give us more examples and more experience or ideas on this part?
Okay, so in semester one, which is the first term, we run a project called Sound of Cinema, and that was first run by the London Philharmonic Orchestra, and the design studio who ran that brief is called JMG Studio, and we get them in at the end of the brief to come and talk about their work and also look at the students' work. So that's in the first semester. At the end of the first semester, we have, so the next project, we do the Silent Book Prize. I can't say it, it's in Italian. It's, I think it's the Giocono to something. I can't remember. So, so all the students are encouraged to enter that as well. So that's part of the Bologna Book Fair, which is, I'm not sure whether you're aware of that, which is the biggest conference for children's book publishing in the world. So it's really amazing. So students are encouraged to enter that. Then after Christmas, we have a competition brief. All the students are expected to enter that. We, as part of that brief, one of the professors that works at Middlesex University, Professor Phil Cleaver, he has invited a connection in from the Phoenix comic, David Finkling, and we have a competition that's been created specifically for Middlesex, so nobody else can enter it. And that is to get your work in the Phoenix magazine, which is a really, it's selling hundreds of thousands of copies every week. And so you have the opportunity to have your work in the magazine, and there's also a prize for that. So they came in at the degree show and they handed out prizes. So if you're looking, at the degree show and you see a little sticker that says Phoenix comic, then that's what that is. That's that. We also have live speakers who come in. So we had Russell Cobb, who is a really well-respected illustrator. He came in this year. And we also have alumni coming in who tell you about their journey. So that's really, really relevant because, you can have these high-flying illustrators and professionals who come in, but what they're talking about isn't so relevant for students. Students really need to know about that next step and how they're going to take what they've learned in the studio into the real world. And I think it's always really, really kind of beneficial to talk to those illustrators who's just made that journey. So I'm going to get Lottie Sue, who's won all those prizes. She's going to come in in next semester and talk about her journey, and hopefully that'll be really helpful to the students.
Okay, that's wonderful. And also, do you also define this as one of the very unique selling points for us for Middlesex University?
I think the contacts that we've got with industry, they're second to none. And the good thing about Middlesex is as well, because all the staff are very friendly with each other. So, for instance, my colleague in graphics, Michael, he told me about portfolio reviews that they were doing with somebody from a design company. And then he was like, oh, well, why don't you have that person see the illustrators in the afternoon? And I was like, yeah, I'd never thought of that. So we pass things over and we also work closely with fashion as well. We won, I don't know whether you know that we won the D&AD Best New Stand last year. Did you know that? So we out of the whole of the D&AD festival, we won the best stand. So
That's wonderful. We will for sure look into that, and we should share and spread this wonderful news to more people and to all like more to explore and in our region as well, because we have some agent partners come here today. So this is very important news and informations for them while they introduce this to their students. Hopefully.
Okay, well, I can get I can get that information to you today. I can send you some
Wonderful.
photographs.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I will be sharing together with our today's recordings to those who cannot make it today, and also to those who attended today. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Louise. I'm gonna let you have a little rest.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So at the same time, like if you have any other questions for the audience, feel free to ask after we finish the session with our graphics by Clare. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn my mic off now, if that's okay.
Thank you so much, Louise. So I want to say hi to Clare. Clare, are you here?
I am, yeah. Hi.
Great. Hi, Clare. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming to share this, to have these sessions with our audience. So as I have introduced earlier to Louise, we have our future students today, and we have our partners, our agents, like who will be also deliver what they had today's, and then to the students in the coming intakes. Okay, so feel free to start anytime you feel good to, and I will also be recording the whole sessions. Okay.
Absolutely.
I hope this is okay.
share. That's absolutely fine. I'll share my screen now.
Thank you. Great.
And I'm hoping, can you just confirm that you can see that screen? Yep.
Yes, we can see it.
Wonderful. And can you just confirm that it's actually changing? Because sometimes I find on Teams, sometimes the slides don't change. So I could be talking for ages. Wonderful, thank you. Yes. I've done a presentation before. I've talked through the whole slides, and no one's told me that the pages haven't changed. So okay. So hi, nice to meet everyone. I'm Clare Lewis. I'm Director of Programs for Graphics and Illustration. So I have the privilege of working sort of with both courses at Middlesex. I primarily though teach on graphic design. So I'm here today to talk to you about graphic design. Feel free to ask any questions that you'd like to ask. So let's get started. So graphics at Middlesex, it's it's what you would expect. Of course, it's innovative and it's experimental, it's playful. But our sort of main goal as graphic design is about communication. It's about teaching students how to be able to communicate, how to problem solve. And we have fun, and we are experimental, and we are really very creative course. But the core of what we stand for is actually employability. So we recognise that students come to us, and of course they want to build this, have this wonderful creative experience. But actually, at the end of the 3 years, what they need is a portfolio that's going to get them in a job that will then sort of fulfill their future. So that's really, really important to us, and it's sort of it's the core of everything we do. So it's always about trying to get the students to discover who they are, what kind of voice they have, what kind of designer that they want to be, and then it's about encouraging them to explore that over the 3 years and to build a portfolio that will hopefully then get them a job in their pathway that they're interested in. So again, in graphics, we are very lucky in the sense that we cover a lot of things, we cover a lot of subjects, and hopefully as I go through this presentation, that will become clear as well. So just a little bit about why people should choose graphics, why Middlesex for graphic design, and there's lots of choice out there, but why specifically Middlesex? Okay, so as I've sort of been saying already, really, it's about preparation for your career. You know, we sort of cover so many different things. So, you know, ranging from what you would sort of expect, the fundamentals of graphic design, really sort of, you know, those basics, those layout and editorials and sort of general design skills. But we also then take those and we sort of deliver them across things like app design. So really looking at UI and UX. We deal with branding and identity. We cover things like super graphics and exhibition design, moving image. So we really do cover a sort of a vast amount of fields, and actually that's so important because that is what industry is expecting. Industry expects a graphic design student to have the fundamental design skills and the, you know, the ability to sort of cross different specialisms as well. So a graphic design student is expected to know how to, you know, deal with photography, but also layout and also, you know, moving image. So there is quite a big expectation on students, but I think we cover it in a really nice sort of manageable way. We have Louise already sort of alluded to this already. The facilities at Middlesex are just unbelievable. And, you know, they're a reason to come in their own, to be quite honest. So we have these wonderful facilities like photography studios, we have print rooms, and by print rooms, I mean, you know, rooms with, you know, screen printing, letterpress, and all those sorts of things, as well as print rooms in terms of reprographics. Excuse me, which is really important for us, again, in terms of sort of employability and getting people ready for industry. So it's learning how you would sort of save a file to send off to a printers and how you would sort of have that conversation about papers and things like that. So we have all those facilities here. So we're really very, very lucky. What I should say as well about the facilities, and I think a really important point to make, is that I know a lot of universities have the similar kind of facilities that we have at Middlesex, but what a lot of universities don't have is the fact that they're open access. So our students genuinely can access these facilities 9 to 5 and Monday to Friday. They don't have to, you know, wait for a particular project. They're there for them because they are always staffed with technicians, which is a really sort of valuable thing. So we have guest lectures, we have strong industry connections, we have, which lead to sort of live briefs and competitions and exhibitions. So all sorts of things that you'd probably expect really within a course. But so guest lectures, normally what we do is we try and just get people in generally, because, you know, it's really good to just cover sort of subjects across the board. So we can sometimes just get someone in just because we can, and it's nice to have, you know, just to hear from someone from industry about what they do, see some of their work and just be inspired generally. We tend to always get guest lectures in for specific projects. So if we're setting a project about a specific subject, we might get a specialist in there that can then come in and talk to us about their specialism and how they handle it and, you know, the position in industry. We're also very lucky that we've got very strong connections with our alumni, and quite often we get people from alumni, you know, coming in and sort of sharing their experience as what their experience at university was with us at Middlesex and how they then went on to a career in graphic design. And so that's a really nice sort of relationship as well. Live briefs are important, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we sort of go through and talk about the what each of the years. So we have study trips, and we're very lucky. We are positioned in London. So I always sort of say we're close enough to the centre of London, but far enough out as well, which is a real positive to me. So you come to our campus and it's green and it's pretty and it's lovely. And, you know, you can almost like a breath of fresh air. But, you know, equally, you can just walk 5 minutes down the road, hop onto the tube, and you're in, you know, centre of London in 20 minutes. So we are extremely lucky. So we've got all these things at our doorstep. We've got these wonderful galleries that students can go to. And the majority of galleries in London are free as well. So the students can access those whenever. They don't just have to wait for us to take them. So career paths, again, I'll talk a little bit more about that later, and I sort of already touched upon it as well. To be honest, I can't tell you what our students go on to do, because they all tend to go on to do different things within graphics, because like I've been already saying, like graphics is broad. So we have students that you would maybe class as a general graphic designer who might go and work in a studio, and they might be working on a number of projects. But we also have students who go off and work in-house. So that, you know, they might work we've got someone in Amazon Prime and Google at the moment, and Apple as well. So they're in-house design teams, and they're working on that sort of particular brand and just that, which, you know, again, is becoming a really sort of big field these days. So it's a really sort of broad range what our students go on to do. So we have a really great student-to-tutor ratio, contact time. So when we say that students are in, they're in, but they're in with a member of staff. So every time they have a session, they have a one-to-one contact with a member of staff to discuss their work. And again, I think from a creative subjects point of view, that is so important. I think the way that students learn really is from feedback, having conversations about their work, so really getting sort of feedback on how they can improve it, where things are going well, where things could be going better. So that contact with the tutor is invaluable, I would say. Because we are a studio-based subject with a real sense of community, we're a nice sized course, not too big, we're manageable. So the lovely thing about that is that tutors know the students' names, which I think is super important. They know the students' names, they get to know the students, they understand how those students tick, and they understand sometimes when those students can be pushed and when sometimes they just need a little bit of time just to kind of relax and when they're having a bit of a bad day. And again, I think that's so valuable, and something that people maybe don't think about so much. So there is a sense of community because, as Louise has already mentioned, with illustration, graphics also have their own studios, which means that students can come in and work, and it doesn't have to just be in class time. They can come up and use the studios whenever they want, even at a weekend if they wanted to. And that does build this really quite lovely sense of community because students can come and find each other and start chatting about their work normally, which again actually improves their work, because if they're working with their peers and constantly talking about their work, you're amazed at how much of an impact that will have. So we have specialist lecturers. So we have what you would class as a core team of tutors on the course, but we also bring people in from industry because that's really important. Graphic design is changing. You know, you blink and you miss it. So you have to be really aware of that, and you have to sort of be quite agile to that. So what we do is every year we revisit our projects, we check that we're industry ready. We have people come in. In fact, we've just had conversations with a few people from industry about whether they feel that we are sort of delivering what graduates need. And so having conversations about that and making sure that our projects are suitable for that. So what we do for that is actually bring people in from industry to do, like, for example, a project. So in the second and third year, we have modules where the projects will change each year, and it might be for 6 weeks, a different specialist will come in and teach that subject so that students are really getting those skills that they need. So it's a really sort of nice mix of things. So the structure, how our course is structured is it's 4 30-credit modules a year. So that means 2 modules per semester because we have 2 semesters, one leading from September to December and the other one from January to April. And in each of those semesters, you have 2 30-credit modules and you are taught 3 days a week. So in our first year, I'm not going to sort of say, you know, show lots and lots of examples of work, but I'm just going to sort of give you a little brief rundown of what we sort of do in our first year. So our first year really is a chance to experiment. So we get people from all over the place, so from all over the world, but also from lots of different courses with different sort of skills already. So what first year is about introducing people to graphics, what graphics is, what it can be, and basically making sure that everyone's got the skills, the fundamental skills that they will need to be able to then sort of go and be successful. You know, so just making sure that everyone understands sort of basic typography skills, layout skills. They've got the basic skills on how to create moving image, because there's no assumption that people come with any kind of digital software knowledge. So we teach from absolute ground level up. And so the first year really is about just testing and playing with things. So you might find yourself in the photography studios learning about photography and layout, because as a graphic designer, it's quite likely that you might end up on a photography shoot, sort of directing things for a magazine article that you're creating or something like that, or for a brand campaign. You might also find yourself in the print room doing screen printing and letterpress, because again, that's really valuable, and the different sort of qualities that can bring to your work is really important. And then the next day you might find yourself in one of our digital media suites working on After Effects and an animation, because again, that's part of what we do. So first year is a little bit of everything, just getting people sort of at a good level. Then we move to second year, and that really kind of steps up a little bit in terms of they've kind of figured out what graphics is now. We've got those fundamentals, those foundations are sort of well and truly set in place. So second year is a little bit about exploring, and it's a real shift towards employability now, because we can't bring in live briefs too soon, because obviously that would be quite overwhelming from the first year. But what we do is we start to bring in the industry side of things into the second year. So we might introduce things like, for example, here the example is a penguin book cover, which was this student actually won the penguin design competition. So we bring in competitions which are really important. They're very important to have in on your CV, in your portfolio, basically. But we also, towards the end of the second year, will introduce a live brief. And what that will normally mean is 2 people. So we normally get 2 briefs just so that we can give variety to students. So again, that thinking where, well, one may be a little bit more print-based, but another brief might be a little bit more digital. So trying to give the students choice whenever we possibly can. Those live briefs will be set from someone in industry. They will normally come in and brief it and give a little lecture. And then we'll normally sort of set it so a few weeks later they'll come back and the students will have to pitch to those clients, just as they would in the real world. Normally you would turn up with the presentation with 3 ideas. That client would then choose their favorite. They then have the time to sort of make those changes, and again the client would come in at the end of the project and the students would present to them. And that's a really good sort of experience from this real world sort of, we don't hold back. We make sure they get that proper experience so that they're prepared for when they leave. So that's the second year. Oh, well, the second year as well, I should say, is we start to really shift. I mean, it's a thread that runs through all 3 years, to be honest, but about design for change, design for good. So this idea of design with a conscience, and I think that's really important as well. And we really introduce that by bringing a social conscience brief into the second year, and that is an opportunity for the students to do anything. They can choose a subject that is maybe personal to them if they want it to be, and they can then create a campaign based on that. So that's a really lovely part of the second year. And then in the third year, really, it's about making sure that we are providing an environment where students can thrive, where they've really kind of discovered who they are and what they're interested in, what they like, and they've discovered by this point what they don't like as well. And that's good. That's really important as well. So the third year is about building on those skills. It's about bringing specialist tutors in again so that they've got a bit of choice of what they want to do. So for example, at this stage, if they want to do a bit more UX or UI, there's a tutor that, can sort of work with them on that. And then they end their third year with a final major project, which is designed entirely by themselves with the support of a tutor, obviously, as well, because it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes when someone says to you, you can do a project on anything. It's that, it can be quite tricky sometimes to choose what that anything is. But the students love it. This tends to be their favourite project because it's theirs. And they write the project, they write the brief, and then they get to sort of create it. And what I love about the FMP is that it can be anything. And we've had all sorts in the past, and it's a wonderful thing that. So, and it can cover lots of different sort of subject areas as well. And again, it's just with that idea that the subject that they've chosen is going to help them build a portfolio that's going to help them get the job in the area that they wanted to get. So that's the third year. So just going to get like a few examples of work that our students do. So, like editorials, sort of print-based stuff. We go and do app design. We do typography and a little bit of moving image. So, I won't sort of take too long sort of going on there because I think I could go on forever about sorts of works and projects that we have, but I'd be more than happy to share sort of case studies. And then again, sort of just moving on a little bit more of the sort of second, third year work here. So we have Riso as well, and we sort of, get people in to sort of teach typography and type design because we do have students actually work at type foundries as well. So again, that's kind of an important thing. And we sort of really have like a lot of moving image as well, because with everything we do these days as a graphic designer, you'll find that something moves. Even if it's just an identity that you're doing, you might find that you have to make the logo move, or you have to create something to do with social media, which again is sort of part of what we have to deal with. Like, how do you take a campaign which traditionally might have been a poster campaign, but now has to appear in lots of different formats? So you might still have it on the train stations and the underground and bus stops, but equally you have to have something that works online on a website, but equally has to work on TikTok and Instagram as well. So at some point something moves. So we do introduce that to you. And if it lets me, so what I've done, I'm hoping I have enough time, but I might just stop it a few minutes in because I thought I'd better cover the subject of AI, because this is something that a lot of people ask us about, and I could go on forever about it. but we embrace it, I guess, is the answer to the the question, how do we manage AI? But we do embrace it. We use it as a tool, just as we would use the Adobe software like Photoshop or in InDesign as a tool. It is a tool, so AI is actually very valuable to us. We've actually had it embedded in our course for a good few years now already, and actually this project is that I'm going to show you is from 2022. It's the degree show, so it's 3 years old, so quite advanced, I would say, for its time. But we do introduce it. So, for example, with our first year, we have a little ChatGPT editorial project that we do with them just to introduce them to how to use softwares responsibly and ethically, how we introduce them to this idea that we would use it as a tool and not something that designs for them, because that's very important. So we do, and then we've done a project as well which scared the life out of some of our third years, but they got into it in the metaverse. So they had to create a brand that lived and evolved in the metaverse, which was quite an interesting thing to get their heads around. But again, so we do embrace it. It is important, and we are hearing from industry actually more and more now that they're not too worried about AI taking over of jobs and things, but they do like the idea that students or graduates are able to sort of handle the software and understand how to do it and use it professionally. So I'm just going to play, I hope you can hear the sound on this, but I'm going to play a little video because I thought it sort of did it well, and it also showed a little example of what we expect from our students. So this was a pitch, so this wasn't the finished piece, this was a pitch that the students had to do to pitch for their degree show. So they presented it online at the time, so that's why I've got a good recording of it. And yeah, so this was just some of our students trying to convince us that their idea was the right one to choose for it. Please let me know if the sound doesn't work. Okay.
Is that it?
It has, yeah.
Oh,
Is
we
the sound
cannot
not
hear the
working?
sound. No, no,
Ah,
no.
okay. Oh, that's a shame. I had a feeling you might not be able to hear the sound there, actually. I won't sort of spend lots of time trying to fix that, but what I'll do is talk through it instead. It's a shame because actually the students did such a nice way of explaining it. But the task, as it sort of says here, was to engage students and guests in the celebration of their work through a distinctive visual identity. So I'll just sort of go through and hopefully you can sort of see as the screen sort of changes. And I'll just show you some of the moving image stuff as well. So their idea basically was to, I'm wondering if I can make this work. In fact, I'll play it and I'll talk over it. I think hopefully that will sort of work. So yeah, their idea was basically to take lots of objects from around the university, from all the different courses we have, and then feed it into a machine learning algorithm, basically. And what that did was, I'm frantically trying to make this thing work, and it's not going to do it for me. But yeah, so they took all these objects, they fed them into it, and then what they did was create sort of these sort of marks. So here on screen now, hopefully you can see all the objects they've collected. They photographed them all. So yeah, they're just 400 pieces of it, which was quite impressive. And then they fed it into this algorithm, like I was sort of saying, and then it created from these objects, it created these really lovely sort of abstract marks, which they then sort of took to do, as part of their identity. Hopefully, sorry, as I'm pressing play there, you can see some of the images moving, and hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing here as well. So these lovely sort of objects became these really sort of wonderful kind of abstract shapes that evolved and moved and really sort of represented this idea of like this creative journey and how the students, as they go through their 3 years at university, how it evolves. So that's what the concept behind the project was, basically. It's this evolution of them as a student into a graduate, and this idea that they used this machine learning algorithm to create this identity. And hopefully, as I move along, I can show you how it started to look. So like I say, this was just at the pitch point, really. So actually, they did get chosen to do it, and their final sort of identity did sort of change. So as I was sort of saying to you earlier, they actually had to pitch 3 different ideas, but this was just one of those. So that's how we handle AI. And then career paths, I think I've probably already talked enough about this, but I'll just very quickly sort of mention this again. So as I was saying, career paths, it's a tricky one for me to sort of answer. We have students everywhere doing lots of wonderful and exciting things. So, you know, from the sort of what you'd expect from graphic designers and branding and identity companies, like people who are book editorial designers. So I've got graduates at Penguin at the moment. Some go on to do packaging. So I've got someone who works in a bespoke, actually, sort of alcohol design packaging only company, doing really, really well. So motion graphics, moving image, digital, we've got all sorts of wonderful things happening. So just a very sort of general kind of thing now. So our sessions when we're teaching are, hopefully they're engaging, and I think our students love that, you know, enjoy that, these conversations, and that tends to be what it is. So they're not sort of lecture based in the sense that we stand up and sort of talk at you. We talk to you, with you, in small groups, and I think that's really important, because that's how we get the most out of you, really. So we might do workshops with you. So when we're introducing a concept, we might sort of introduce you and show you some examples, but then what we'll do is actually do something practical with you. We'll get you to sort of enact it, to do it, because that's the best way to learn, really. So that's how we tend to be. Project briefs, we tend to have sort of real world challenges, so really to kind of encourage you to sort of challenge yourself and making sure that you're putting your skills into use. Regular feedback, so like I say, every time you're in, so we say 3 times a week you're taught, so you are with a tutor 3 times a week, and we do lots of different things, so peer assessments, one-to-one feedback, group seminars and things like that. And then again, for entry, it's important for you guys to know that it is a portfolio-based entry to us. So if you want to apply to our course, you would be expected to provide a portfolio. But then that's not a scary thing. And I think in the past I have shared a presentation on how to put portfolio together, and I would be more than happy to share that again. But I won't go through that with you now, because I know it's been a long time you've been sort of sat here listening. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any questions, please ask.
All right, thank you so much, Claire. So yeah, I think you have mentioned some very important point for us, for our students for Middlesex University, is that the courses for these students, they have the access to our wonderful facilities. So this is very important. And also we have the study trip in London, right? Isn't it? As you mentioned.
Yes, so yes, in terms of we take the students around London. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you please give us more ideas on this? Because I believe it will be very attractive to our audience as well.
Okay. So yes, I mean, one of the sort of, I'm just trying to think what we've done this year, sorry. So this year we have, it depends on the brief, if I'm being honest. It will depend on what we're sort of teaching at the time. So for example, we took a group of students to the Serpentine Gallery because they had something going on that sort of related to the brief that they were working on. We have in the past as well taken students to print studios as well, because I think that's really important as well. It's something that's quite often forgotten, I think, from a graphics point of view, or just from a general sort of student point of view, that, you know, actually going and visiting a studio or a print room and finding out actually what happens there. So you've spent all this hard work and time creating this piece of work, and then you send it off to a printers. But actually, when we take students to somewhere like that, and they go, oh, that's how it works, and actually that then impacts how they design. So it's a really important part of it. We are trying to build in as well, actually, sort of trying to get to studios to actually go to graphic design studios, and we have done that in the past. But what we tend to do, to be honest, is, for example, we would go somewhere like the Welcome Collection, and we would sort of set a brief based on something like that. So it might be with the first year, we might say, okay, we're going to meet at the Welcome Collection, have a look around, and we'll just set them some little tasks without telling them actually what they're doing. And then what will come back is, you know,
okay, that's horrible.
yeah, I I know we are nice, really. But then they'll find when they come back to the studio, the reason for the trip was because of, there was a brief for it. So that tends to be how we sort of manage trips. So I can't sort of sit here and say to you, oh, we definitely go here, here, and here these years, because we respond to the briefs and respond to the needs of the students. So, I mean, we had last year, we put all our students onto a coach. They were a bit cross at us because it was early in the morning, and we took them all down to Brighton because there was a really great archive down there. And so all the students, it was third year, they got to go through this amazing archive, which really helped inform their final major project. So we do things like that. And again, it's just a response to what the students need at that particular time.
Wonderful. This is wonderful. Great. And I believe those hands-on and real experience can really help our students to understand and to build up the skills on the drawing and the relevant professional skills as well. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, now, and also you mentioned another very important support is that we've been giving the tutorial session and also the small size support to the students. So yeah. I think it's a very good point as well, because and you said you give an example of our staff can really speak the students' name out, and they really remember those students. I think the connections between our staff, our teachers, with the students are very important for them to really adapt to this environment and to have a good learning experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say actually that's probably one of the fundamentals of what we do in terms of, and maybe something that students don't think about before they go to uni, but realise when they're at uni, it's like, oh, I never see my tutor, or, oh, I wish I saw them more. And at Middlesex, you don't get that. In fact, I always joke with my students that they're fed up of seeing me. But I think it is really important to have that connection and to understand who your students are, and to even know that the students who have a part-time job, and things like that. I think knowing that about your students actually really help to inform how you teach them and how you work with them and how you adapt. And you should adapt. You shouldn't teach everyone in the same way, because everyone is an individual. And I, strong believer of that. And I think the rest of the team are as well. So I really genuinely feel that we are, because we build those relationships, we get the best out of our students, and that's what they deserve, because they are lovely. I mean, our students are really lovely students. I enjoy, it's a pleasure to teach them, actually.
Wonderful. This is great. I really admire the energies from our teachers and our tutors like you, and this is wonderful. And also you mentioned one very important, one very interesting point, that some of the students, they are having the part-time jobs and the internships. So this is a question come from our students very often. The applicant, they will ask if there is any opportunities for them to work or while they study in London. And I think this is going to also be one of the strong points when we are mentioned London is a very resourceful place for them while they were studying. Yeah, can you please give us more ideas on this?
Absolutely. So we stick to the 3-day policy, 3 days of teaching, because we recognise that a lot of students do need to have a job outside of it. So, as much as we say those are the 2 days, you're welcome to come in and use the facilities, we also recognise that quite often our students will have a part-time job. In terms of jobs within the industry, I would say that happens a little bit more from the second year. So if actually this year I've got some really lovely, enthusiastic first years, but I would say at first year, they're not quite ready to go into industry, and to get a placement and internship, it's very tricky at that age because of the competition from other year groups, and they haven't quite got the skills yet that they need. But in the second year, what we do is actually, and what I should have mentioned, sorry, is we run a project which is about industry preparation. It's called workplace preparation. And what that is involved is we get them to do a portfolio. We get them to do their CV, and we also get them to start, start looking at who they're interested in. And I think, again, that can't be valued enough. It's amazing how many people don't think about that. It's what, rather than just going, oh, well, they're the best design agency in the country, I want to work there. That might not be appropriate for someone. They might not be the right kind of designer for that, and then they won't thrive and they won't be happy. So we kind of have this module where we look at things like that, and we get them to start looking at who they think they fit with. And then there's conversations. We get people in, obviously, as well, to do sort of guest speakers about how they got jobs and stuff like that. So that's really important. So it's in the second year where we have like the shift from kind of to that industry and that idea that actually they might apply for placement. So that module really is about getting them ready to be able to apply for something. And you find it tends to be at the end of the second year, over the summer break, a lot of students will then try and get an internship, and that tends to be the place where you would get it. And that's sort of in industry is what's sort of expected. Most people will start to find it at the end of their second year because they're a little bit more ready. We do have some third years who do then have internships throughout the year, and because obviously we've got that flexible timetable, there is that ability to do that as well. But like I say, the majority of people do tend to have a job, just like a general job, whether it's working in a little cafe or a shop or something like that, just to sort of keep themselves going.
Okay, thank you so much for the clarification. So, well, I'm wondering if there is any more questions from our audience today, or if you cannot think of any question now, feel free to contact us after we finish the whole session. And I'll be asking you to bear with me for like 5 more minutes, so that I will be sharing some information about Middlesex University as well. So at the same time, if you think of any questions, also feel free to ask. So just give me 1 more minutes. Okay, so.
I've got some photos of the DNAD if you want to see them, Betty.
Oh, really? That's great. Let me stop my sharing first. I think I can stop this.
It's only a couple.
Great. Thank you so much.
I've got a lot that I can send you, but I've just got a couple to show you the if I can find them. Whoops.
Okay, great.
Browse my computer. Oops, sorry. Actually, if you want to go ahead first, and then I'll put them in a little PowerPoint, and I can share that with you at the end if you like. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. Or you can also share this to me by email me, or by sending this to Anna. I can also share this to the audience as well.
Okay.
Sorry for that, but yeah, let me just stop this first. And like, is it okay or good? You can.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So great. So, okay, let me have this with me first. Okay, so here you can see my screen now, right? Okay, so thanks a lot for all those very detailed and informative information about the BA graphics and illustrations. So for those of you also have little or like very limited information about Middlesex University, let me have a very brief introduction of our university to you. Okay, so our office, as I mentioned earlier, the Asia Pacific Regional Hub, like we have offices located in Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, and Shenzhen. And me myself, I located in Hong Kong, and currently, and this is our location, the Hendon Central, and which is like 20 to 30 minutes by subway. You can access to the center of the London, so very, very convenient. So this is also very important for those of you who are studying the arts. Like you need to study in the art city, okay? So London is one of the capital of the arts. So this is our wonderful location, and this is our campus. Like we have a comprehensive and completed campus for our students, and you can see the growth is the art center, our art center. We have been invest a lot to build up a good learning environment for our students. And we also provide the accommodation hall. And you can see on the right hand of this picture, the usher hall. This is our nearest accommodation hall by walking distance, like 5 minutes, very, very convenient. And also Middlesex University, we have 140 years of teaching experience, and we are the top 5 modern UK universities as well. And this is our facilities, and I'm not gonna do like too detail on this page because I want to save some of your times here. And also we provide the free printing, including the 3D printers. So we have free laptops loan, and we have our one-stop student support center. So whenever you need a tutorial or academic support, or you need a support for your student visa for some of our international students, so you can find someone someone in the campus to help you. And actually, Middlesex University, we are the first UK universities to offer each student a free e-textbook. So that means your tuition fee will cover everything. And also for all the international students, we guarantee the accommodations for the first year of arrival. And the charges, the bills ranges from 800 to 1,000 per month. And the charges include all the bills already. And here we have our arts and design program today, but at the same time, because we are comprehensive university, so we have our other faculties as well. Okay, so if you have any interest on this part, feel free to contact us as well. And for Middlesex University, like our tuition fee is very, very reasonable compared to many other UK universities. Like we charge is only £16,600 per year. This is very reasonable for any UK universities, not to mention that we located in the London city. Okay, so and also, for our basic or standard entry requirement for today's program, we ask portfolio. And then for the academic requirements, we ask for the UCAS points, 112 points. But if you are unsure about your academic qualifications, feel free to contact us by the email that I will show later. So we accept a varieties of the qualifications, and we also accept the combination of those qualifications as well. So for Hong Kong students, we also accept the Hong Kong DSE. Okay, so this is for the year one entry, and we also have foundation year with those two programs with us today. So also the portfolio will be required, and with only a lower UCAS point requirement as well. So this is something unique about Middlesex is for us, we offer 4-year program, which means if you get an offer with the foundation year, that will be an offer for 4 years. So you don't need to apply again after you finish the foundation year like other universities. So, and also the cost will be covered for 4 years as well. Okay. So if for those of you who are currently studying in other universities within the same major, if you wanted to transfer your second or final year at Middlesex University, we also accept the advanced entry as well. So if you are unsure again, please send us your qualifications and we will guide you step by step. So don't worry about this as well. And also for our English requirements, we accept the IELTS and GCSE, the IB English, and Hong Kong DSE English Level 3. So if you are unsure, we have a list of recognition English tests, and feel free to contact us. And if you, for those of you who don't have any English test scores now, we have our free online English test. So all you need to do is submit the application, get a conditional offer letter, and then we will guide you to register our online English test. So this is a same, I would say like very similar to IELTS, but only with shorter times. So you see the reading and writing in total 2 hours and listening and speaking like 30 minutes. Okay, so for those of you who are still worrying about the English qualifications, we also have our professional English course. So like we can support our students to smoothly transfer from the professional to our main course study. So this is a document list for the direct application. And if you have any questions, feel free to email to those email address. Okay, so actually we have been running this session from the first Thursday of May to today. So we have invited like some of our program leaders and tutors from our arts schools to introduce the courses. So we have also recorded these sessions, and we will be sending you after we finish everything by email. And if you have any questions, you can click the link and see the recordings, as well as don't forget to contact us directly. Okay, so this is all for our today's session. So we really hope that we can start to hear more from you and to receive more student inquiries. And if you need any help from us, feel free to let us know. Okay. All right. So I think this will be everything for our today's webinar. Okay. So thank you so much, Claire, and thank you so much, Louise, and thank you so much, Anna, for arranging everything. And we hope that we can catch up very soon, and we hope that we can see each other next time. Okay.
Okay, lovely. Have a lovely day. Okay. Have a
lovely
day. Thank you so much. Okay, bye. 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 Bye.